What do you do when you're winning? Do you take bigger risks or do you protect what you've already built? Because right now LEGO is making a very clear choice. And that choice tells us so much more about business strategy than I ever cared to learn about it. Regardless, this is what this video is about. Toto, we're not in Billund anymore. Let's go. And with that, welcome to my little video essay about LEGO playing it safe and everybody hating LEGO right now, which is, nonsensical. Regardless, if you've been following the Bricklink Designer Program recently, maybe you've watched some of my coverage, right? The playlist is linked below. Then you've probably noticed something interesting. So last series, right, Series 7, that went on pre-order just, a couple of weeks ago, that completely sold out all of its allocation of 150,000. Every single set. And that's not just a success, right? That's dominance in the market. The biggest toy manufacturer in the world just creates a fan program and still manages to sell everything. And what did LEGO do next with the reveal of the Series 10 finalists, which we've just seen? They played it safe. For those of you who don't know, the Bricklink Designer Program is basically LEGO's experimental lab, or at least that's what it used to be. Fan designers submit ideas, the community votes, and the winner gets produced in limited runs. Used to be 10,000 units per set, now it's 30,000 units per set, but really it's whatever, since you have 150,000 units spread over the entire run of the series, right? You can have 5 sets and each of them can sell 30,000 units in general, but if one set does only 10,000, you have another allocation of 20,000 units for another one. But here's my point, the BDP is no longer what it used to be. It used to be creative, weird, niche stuff, sets that LEGO would never produce on their own. Take, for example, Adventure in Transylvania, right? I saw this set, that was very early on in my re-entering the LEGO hobby, and I saw this and I thought, okay, LEGO's never gonna make a vampire castle like that, ever. So I bought it on the Bricklink Designer Program, and I'm very happy with my purchase. It's a fantastic set. I think it's the best LEGO set of all time. But it used to feel like the BDP does risky stuff, but now the risk is gone. When every single set sells out within that 1 week it's available, you're no longer experimenting. You have found a formula, and this is where things get really interesting. Not just for LEGO, but for any kind of success, be that in business or really in life. There's just this one single simple principle. If you're behind, you take risks, but when you're ahead, you try to protect your lead, right? If you've ever played competitive card games, let me give you an example. I've been playing Hearthstone for the better part of 10 years now. I used to play Gwent, which I also like, but that's long gone. But this is one of the first things you learn there, right? When you're losing, you don't play safe. You can't. You take the risky line. You make the unlikely play. You go for the small chance that flips the game. And I'm going to give you a Hearthstone example, but I'm going to try to make it understandable for most of you. Imagine you're very low on health, right? You have a hero, and when they run out of health, they die, you lose the game. So now you're on very low health, and you know your opponent has lethal on board next turn. Now, you have 2 options, right? You could clear part of the board and make sure you survive 1 more turn. But that's not going to help you in the long run. Instead, you ignore everything, you go face, you go for the win. You play for that exact top deck right now that wins you the game. It's a low percentage play, but it's your only chance. Because playing it safe when you're behind just guarantees you lose slower, but you still lose. But when you're ahead, everything changes. Now you don't go face, now you trade. Now you clear the board, you remove the randomness. You shut down every possible comeback. You stop asking, what wins me the game right now? And you start asking, how do I make sure I don't throw this away? And that's exactly where LEGO and the BDP are right now. They're not trying to win anymore, they have already won. They're just making sure they don't lose. Let's think about it together. Earlier rounds of this program had a certain amount of uncertainty, right? Would these niche sets actually sell? Would people essentially pay for marks at what still feels like a premium price? And would production even make sense? So LEGO and BDP, they experimented. They experimented with different themes, different scales, different levels of weird. Because when you're behind or unsure, risk is your only way forward. And let's be real, nothing shows this shift better than LEGO Castle, right? That one theme. Castle has become one of the most sought-after themes in the entire LEGO community. Every time a castle set appears, whether it's official or fan-designed, it doesn't just do well. These things explode. It's nostalgia, display value, army building, for some people it's still a thing, not just in Star Wars, storytelling, everything in one package. And most importantly, for LEGO and their bottom line, it's a guarantee. You include a LEGO Castle set in a limited program like BDP and it will sell out, no questions asked. And here's where things get even more interesting, because the Bricklink Designer Program isn't just successful, right? It's extremely successful within LEGO. We're talking about a program where demand massively outpaces supply, where sets sell out almost immediately, and where fan engagement is through the roof. I was part of that live stream on March 20th. People are tuning in for these things. So naturally, you would expect LEGO to scale this up, right? Increase production, release more sets, expand the program, maybe do a castle round just for castle fans. But that's not what they announced. Instead, they're keeping allocation the same. So, if you can't sell more sets overall, what do? Ever heard of looks maxing? That's how you get a face like this. You maximize the performance of each individual set is what I'm trying to say. And suddenly, certain design choices start to make a lot more sense. Like focusing on minifig scale builds. I didn't think this was possible. We now have a round where all 5 finalists are minifig scale sets. We didn't have that before, and there's a simple explanation for that. Minifig scale sets hit the widest audiences. They are more playable, they're more collectible, they're more compatible with existing LEGO ecosystems. There's a reason why people like me talk about your own city all the time when we talk about certain sets and integration, right? Crucially, most people want minifig scale sets. Compared to large microscale stuff or abstract display models, they're simply safer bets for a company like LEGO, which means higher sell-through rates, faster sellouts, better numbers. And this is where the human element comes in. Because behind every program like this, there are people. Managers, decision makers, people whose careers depend on performance. If you're running the Bricklink Designer Program, you don't get promoted for risks that might work. You get promoted for results, for sellouts, for clean numbers, and I can't stress how important this is, predictable success. So the strategy shifts again, not just what will sell, but what will definitely sell out every single time. And this is how success reinforces itself. The program succeeds, so you reduce risk, which increases predictability, which reinforces success, but also it narrows the range of what gets made. Because the more optimized something becomes, the less experimental it feels. And for a program that started as LEGO's creative playground, that's a big change. So again, LEGO isn't making a mistake here. They're doing exactly what successful systems tend to do. They're protecting a winning formula. The real question is, what happens to creativity when success becomes the only metric that matters? And I think that's what we're seeing right now, consolidation and complacency. The moment you stop risking failure, you might also stop discovering something new, and I think that's a problem. But the irony is LEGO actually does know how to take risks. Look at LEGO Smart Play. This is a huge investment, no matter what you think about it. It's a completely custom chip, a synthesizer in a brick, a new play system, a completely different way of interacting with LEGO. And not just on a small scale, this isn't a small experiment. This is LEGO betting serious money on the future. But even here, they couldn't fully commit to the risk. Because what was the first major theme they tied it to? That's right, Star Wars, the safest IP they have, the most reliable seller. And on paper, that makes perfect sense, right? You're introducing something new and expensive, so you want to anchor it to something proven. You need to reduce uncertainty in business. You guarantee attention, even if that means sinking more and more money into influencer marketing and renting out the Sphere in Las Vegas. But that very safety might also be the problem, because the LEGO Star Wars audience, it's not really a play audience anymore, is it? It's a collector audience, it's an adult audience, it's a very opinionated audience, let's put it like that. Arguably the most demanding and, yes, at times toxic fandom within LEGO, where expectations are sky high, where criticism is constant and nothing ever feels quite good enough. And more importantly, kids, they have been priced out of LEGO Star Wars a long time ago. The focus is clearly on large sets, premium pricing, display-focused builds. So now you have a system designed for play attached to a theme that's increasingly about collecting, which creates a mismatch, right? The risk is in the technology, but the theme is playing it safe. And instead of balancing each other out, they're actually working against each other. But it's the same pattern again. You take a big risk because you're behind when it comes to integration of electronics in your toys. But you're ahead, you're so ahead because you're already the biggest toy company in the world. You wrap that risk in a safety blanket. And sometimes that works. But sometimes playing it safe in the wrong place is exactly what causes something new to fail. Or you end up with a very boring round of BDP sets for a couple of series now. I want to see something cool like Ambush, and I'm really sad that it didn't work out. But what do you think? Is LEGO making smart and calculated decisions? Are you happy with these decisions? Are they slowly designing the risk out of their own creativity? Would you like more creative risks? Then again, people say they want risks, but LEGO Dreams, a huge creative risk, people just don't buy. Let me know in the comments, and if you want more deep dives into LEGO design and strategy, subscribe. I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Welcome to my ant car. This is just a hangout. Yeah, I'm a crank that shit. Bro, that's so damn loud. It's nothing but a little intermission. Enjoy these soothing bars of utter indecision. Buddy people, you can trust me. It's an ant card. I know all those fire jokes and get you saying hard. It's an ant card. This shit ain't some voodoo, bro. I know you want to stay, but it's time for you to go.